I'm doing my reviews for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films in honor of the new one, here's my review for the fourth installment, and this pretty much almost killed the franchise off in for a few years, and that is, of course, the abysmal, abominable one that is, of course, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. All right, I said Leatherface Texas Chainsaw 3 was the worst. I feel like this one is pretty much the Batman and Robin of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. You know how Batman and Robin sort of, pretty much messed up the whole Batman franchise until like, decades later. I call this the Batman and Robin of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. This is, holy cow, it's a bad film. I mean, it's a bit of, I take it back. It's a bit more of a guilty pleasure. Even though it's a bad film, there are occasions I would once in a while actually watch this movie, to be honest, because it's a pretty much like it's a bad film, but it's actually usually fun to watch. Now this movie, of course, stars a very young Matthew McConaughey, about like 2 years after Days of Confused fame kicked in, and he also had a very young Renee Zellweger, years before Richard Jones fame, and of course, years before like Jerry Maguire fame kicked in. And it's more like, this innocent teen named Jenny, played by Renee Zellweger, and three other teenagers, all pretty much leaving their prom a little early, and they end up crashing their car in the backwards of Texas, and in their search for help, they run into this guy named Vilmer Slaughter, played by Matthew McConaughey, who's this like psychopath with a mechanical leg, and his twisted family, including the serial killer Leatherface, as the group of friends also struggle to survive. So, I kid you not, Matthew McConaughey's character is pretty much a relative to the Leatherface cannibal family. So, yeah, I mean, you literally get if you want to see creepy Matthew McConaughey in like a crazy form, this is what you got. I mean, thank God, years like he, rebound with some other great roles like Time to Kill, his Oscar-winning film Dallas Buyers Club. I mean, who ever knew that Matthew McConaughey had one of his big stars in a horror film? Like, I always keep forgetting Matthew was in this movie, but he was definitely one of his worst performances here. You also had like Robert Jackson was also in this. You had some other supporting players. You even had some some uncredited cameos by the original Texas Chainsaw actors, like Marilyn Burns, John Duggan, and this movie is literally directed by Kim Henkel, who of course is a writer on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, like the original one. I'm like, how you were a writer on the original one with Tobe Hooper? How do you mess this franchise up? Like, seriously. I mean, this is just. The movie, of course, was released all the way back on, what was this thing released on again? Release date. Yeah, it was released all the way back on October 7, 1994, only making 136.3K, and it pretty much ended the franchise off until, the remake came around. So, yeah, it's just not that great. It's so dumb at times. Leatherface, they made Leatherface pretty much into a clown here. I'm like, come on, that's like making Jason Voorhees into a clown, And yeah, I mean, I love Renee Zellweger. I love her on in the movie Judy. I loved her in Bridget Jones, but even she wasn't enough to save this film. And yeah, it's just not that good. I mean, some people will actually consider it as one of the best bad movies, which I guess I'll okay with them on that one. But just because it's fun to a fun film to watch doesn't make it all that good. So yeah, it's definitely a poorly crafted and idiotic movie worth checking out, or I say not worth checking out. My bad. Anyway. And they pretty much tried to start off a whole new generation here, and it did not work out at all. Anyway, let me let you guys. Have you ever seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Next Generation? If so, what show? Were you a fan of it? Were you not a fan of it? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Timmy signing off.